It's Ash from SuperVideos back for another video for The Last of Us on HBO. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at some behind-the-scenes pictures and the possibility of the WLF story being expanded in the second season of The Last of Us, which is an adaptation of part 2 of the video game. Stay tuned, we'll be right back to break this down. Alright, as always, before we dive into it, smash the like button, subscribe to join our community, and press the bell to be notified when I upload on the channel. With that said, let's dive right into it. So of course, they're doing filming for Season 2 of The Last of Us in British Columbia. Parts of it is in Vancouver, and there has been some scenes that are set up to be filmed at. We have this poster with a rainbow on it, and there's also a rainbow in the crosswalk. One thing to note is I think this rainbow sidewalk is real. Like, it's a real rainbow thing that they have for Pride in Vancouver. So it might not be directly related to The Last of Us, but they could definitely utilize it. How can they do that? Obviously, if you look at the game, there is a part where we have that exact same type of rainbow, and it fits in very nicely with the whole Dina story. So that might be the direction they're going with it. There's also a Pride rainbow heart on the wall, like we see here. Again, I think that's real. It's not for the show, but they could definitely utilize it. Also, they are setting up an actual library, which could be used as the bookstore that was in one part of the game based on these screenshots. So a lot of setup that they're doing for different locations that they might be filming at. And of course, there's greens everywhere. There's vegetation everywhere. So they're bringing back the Last of Us vibe into Vancouver, which is pretty awesome. But they also have the Seattle Center sign there, which confirms that they are filming for the Seattle of part 2 of the game in the TV version, which is super awesome. There's even a new coffee shop being built as a set, which could be a coffee shop that was featured in the game, like we see in this screenshot. So that's awesome. There's an RV here. It's all rusted. There's vegetation on it. Again, we've seen a lot of that in the first season, and they're doing that again for the second season, which is awesome. We have these other vehicles and also some military vehicles for the WLF, which is awesome. They're actually doing a lot with the WLF. We see a lot of pretty sophisticated military equipment with them. Their soldiers look pretty badass. It looks like there's a lot of them as well. Looks pretty awesome. Of course, like I mentioned in my other video, if we look at the first season, they did the same thing with Fedra. So it looks like they're doing exactly the same thing, just replacing the emblem of the organization that's controlling these vehicles. Speaking of that though, look at all of these WLF soldiers. Looks pretty awesome. One thing that they could do, like I mentioned in my intro, is expand the WLF story. The WLF story in the game was pretty decent, but they could dive deep into some of that kind of dynamic between the characters and between the military generals and all of that. Something that I was hoping they'd do for the Fedra or Fireflies story in the first season, but they didn't do that. They just touched on it, but they didn't expand on the story as much as we wanted to. The only exception is what they did with Kathleen's group, the Hunters, but even that was definitely underwhelming, to say the least. But there are also some clips showing all of the WLF soldiers lined up going somewhere, so that's definitely super interesting. It looks like they're getting prepared for a mission or something. Super awesome stuff. I'm definitely intrigued to see how they might potentially expand their story and how this might fit into the whole story as far as Abby versus Ellie. But I am interested to know your thoughts and opinions, so share that in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, smash the like button, subscribe to join our community, and press the bell to be notified when I upload on the channel. That's it for this video. See you next time for another super video.